Everything starts in the mind. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of success first existed as a thought. Before an athlete wins a championship, before an entrepreneur builds a multi-million-dollar business, before a leader transforms a nation, it all begins as a vision, a belief so strong that it reshapes reality. The difference between winners and those who struggle isn't their circumstances, their resources, or their luck. It's the way they think. Winners train their minds for success before success arrives. They understand that the mind dictates every action, every decision, and ultimately every result. Most people are trapped by their beliefs, held back by invisible chains that tell them what they can and cannot do. These beliefs aren't based on truth. They're built from past experiences, failures, fears, and the conditioning of society. Think about a person who says, "I'll never be successful," or "I'm not good with money," or "I'm not smart enough." Those statements aren't facts. They're limitations they've accepted as truth. The moment someone buys into those beliefs, they act in ways that reinforce them, they hesitate, they sabotage themselves, they avoid risks, and in doing so, they create the very reality they fear. But winners don't operate that way. Winners take control of their beliefs. They consciously design the way they think. They challenge every limitation and replace doubt with certainty. Belief is a powerful force. When you believe something with absolute certainty, your mind begins to search for ways to make it a reality. You've experienced this before. Have you ever decided to buy a new car and suddenly you see that exact model everywhere? That's not because there are more of those cars on the road, it's because your brain is now tuned to notice them. The same principle applies to success. When you train your mind to focus on winning, to expect opportunities, to see possibilities instead of obstacles, you start to find ways to make things happen. Your brain works for you instead of against you. One of the most effective ways to reprogram your mind is through repetition. Whatever you tell yourself repeatedly becomes ingrained in your subconscious. Winners understand this, which is why they control their self-talk. They don't let fear or negativity dictate their inner dialogue. Instead, they affirm their power, their potential, and their certainty of success. They wake up every day reinforcing their identity as winners. They say things like, "I always find a way. I am unstoppable. I create opportunities." These aren't just words. They are instructions to the subconscious mind, commands that shape reality. Visualization is another powerful tool. Every great achiever uses it. Before stepping onto a stage, before making a big decision, before taking action, they see success in their minds first. Michael Jordan saw the shot going in before he took it. Elon Musk saw SpaceX succeeding before the first rocket ever launched. The greatest performers in every field mentally rehearse their success over and over until it becomes real. When you repeatedly visualize winning, your mind and body start to believe it's already happened. And when you believe it's inevitable, you act with a different level of certainty. But belief alone isn't enough. It has to be reinforced by action. That's where most people get stuck. They think confidence comes before action, but it's actually the opposite. Action creates confidence. When you take bold steps, even when you're uncertain, you prove to yourself that you're capable. Every time you push through fear, every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you take action despite doubt, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Winners don't wait to feel ready. They act, and through action they develop an unstoppable mindset. Of course, obstacles will show up. That's part of the process. But winners don't see obstacles as stop signs. They see them as challenges to overcome. They train their minds to reframe setbacks. Instead of thinking, "This is too hard," they ask, "How can I figure this out?" Instead of saying, "I failed," they say, "I learned." This simple shift in perspective changes everything. It turns problems into puzzles, roadblocks into stepping stones, and failures into fuel. When your mind is trained to see every challenge as an opportunity, you become unstoppable. Another crucial element of a winning mindset is focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. Whatever you focus on, you move towards. Most people focus on their fears, their problems, and everything that could go wrong. Winners focus on solutions, possibilities, and everything that could go right. They direct their minds with intention. They guard their attention because they understand that what they feed their mind determines their results. Surroundings matter too. The people you spend time with influence your mindset. If you're around people who doubt, complain, and make excuses, you will absorb that energy. But if you surround yourself with people who think big, who challenge limits, who believe anything is possible, you will naturally elevate your thinking. Winners seek out mentors, books, and environments that reinforce their mindset of success. Ultimately, training your mind for success is a daily practice. It's not something you do once and forget about. It's a habit. Every day you choose what to believe. Every day you decide what to focus on. Every day you program your mind for winning or losing, and those choices determine your destiny. Winners know this, which is why they commit to mastering their psychology. Because when your mind is trained for success, everything else falls into place. Emotions are the driving force behind every action, every decision, and ultimately every outcome in life. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not just their knowledge or their resources, it's their ability to master their emotions. Every winner, every leader, every high performer has learned that the way they feel in any given moment determines what they do, and what they do repeatedly creates their destiny. The problem most people face is that they believe emotions are something that just happened to them. They think they have no control, that emotions are a reaction to external events. But the truth is, emotions are created from within, and those who learn to control their emotional state gain an incredible advantage in life. Think about a moment when you felt absolutely unstoppable. Maybe it was a time when you accomplished something huge, when you surprised yourself with your own strength, when you pushed through a challenge that once seemed impossible. In that moment, nothing could hold you back. Now, think about a time when you felt completely defeated, when doubt crept in, when fear kept you from taking action. The difference between these two moments wasn't your skill level, your intelligence, or even your external circumstances. It was your emotional state. Winners understand that if they can put themselves in a peak state, one of confidence, certainty, and determination, they can take action in a way that leads to extraordinary results. So how do you control your emotional state? The first and most powerful tool is physiology. The way you move, the way you breathe, the way you hold yourself, all of these send signals to your brain about how you should feel. If you stand tall, breathe deeply, move with energy, and speak with confidence, you cannot feel weak. Your brain won't allow it. But if you slump your shoulders, lower your voice, and breathe shallowly, you will feel uncertain, even if there is no logical reason for it. This is why every great athlete, performer, and leader trains their body as well as their mind. They know that if they can shift their physiology, they can shift their emotions instantly. Another tool for mastering emotions is focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you constantly think about problems, obstacles, and worst-case scenarios, you will feel anxious and overwhelmed. If you train yourself to focus on possibilities, solutions, and opportunities, you will feel empowered. The brain is like a camera lens. It magnifies whatever you point it at. Winners are intentional about where they direct their focus. They don't dwell on what they can't control, they focus on what they can influence. They don't spend energy on setbacks, they look for the lessons and move forward. By taking control of focus, they take control of their emotions. Language is another powerful factor. The words you use shape the emotions you experience. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, or this is impossible, your brain will believe it. But if you use empowering language, if you say, I'm excited, I'm learning, I always find a way, you condition your mind for resilience. This is why winners are so careful with their words. They don't describe challenges as problems. They see them as opportunities. They don't say they are stressed, they say they are energized. This simple shift in language rewires the way they feel and respond. But even with all these tools, the reality is that negative emotions will still show up. Fear, doubt, frustration. They are part of being human. The key is not to avoid them, but to manage them. Winners don't let emotions control them, they control their emotions. They recognize when fear tries to creep in, and instead of letting it paralyze them, they use it as fuel. They acknowledge when doubt appears, and instead of believing it, they challenge it. Every time they override a negative emotion, they build emotional strength. Just like a muscle, emotional mastery is something that grows with practice. habits. One of the most effective ways to strengthen emotional resilience is by creating daily rituals. Winners don't leave their emotional state to chance, they design it. They have routines that put them in peak states every single day. They use movement, music, affirmations, and visualization to prime their minds and bodies for success. They take time to reflect, to express gratitude, to focus on what truly matters. By doing this consistently, they ensure that they are in control of their emotions instead of being controlled by them. Another key to emotional mastery is association. The people you spend time with influence how you feel. If you surround yourself with people who complain, doubt, and make excuses, their emotions will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with people who think big, who challenge themselves, who bring energy and passion into everything they do, their emotions will elevate you. Winners are intentional about their environment. They seek out mentors, they engage with uplifting content, and they eliminate negativity wherever they can. Ultimately, the ability to control emotions is one of the greatest skills a person can develop. When you can shift from fear to confidence, from hesitation to action, from frustration to determination, you gain the power to shape your life in any way you choose. Winners know that emotions drive everything, and they refuse to let anything outside of them dictate how they feel. Because when you control your emotions, you control your destiny. Success is never an accident. It is a direct result of the habits, routines, and standards we set for ourselves every single day. Winners don't leave their growth to chance. They don't wait for motivation to strike or inspiration to appear. They build a system that ensures progress regardless of how they feel on any given day. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't just intelligence or talent, it's consistency. It's the ability to show up, take action, and follow through day after day, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. Most people underestimate the power of habits. They think that success is about one big breakthrough, one lucky moment, one massive effort. But in reality, success is built on the small things we do repeatedly. If you look at the most successful people in any field, business, sports, music, leadership, you'll see that they have structured routines that guide their daily actions. They don't rely on willpower, they create habits that drive them forward automatically. It's not that they're more disciplined than others, it's that they've built a system where success becomes inevitable. One of the most critical habits of winners is setting clear intentions for their day. They don't wake up and react to whatever happens, they start with purpose. They define what needs to be done, what their priorities are, and what mindset they need to bring to the day. They know that without a plan, distractions will take over and their time will be wasted. Winners take control of their schedule instead of letting their schedule control them. Another crucial habit is continuous learning. Winners are obsessed with growth. They don't settle for what they already know. They are always expanding their knowledge, sharpening their skills, and seeking new ways to improve. They read books, listen to podcasts, attend seminars, and learn from the best in their field. They understand that the moment they stop growing is the moment they start falling behind. They don't just consume information, they apply it. They take what they learn and put it into action immediately. Taking massive action is another defining trait of successful people. Most people overthink, hesitate, and wait for the perfect time to start. Winners don't. They act. They take imperfect action, adjust along the way, and keep moving forward. They know that progress beats perfection every time. They don't let fear of failure hold them back because they understand that failure is simply feedback. It's part of the process. Every mistake, every setback is a lesson that moves them closer to success. One of the most powerful habits of high achievers is managing their energy, not just their time. They know that success isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. They take care of their body, their mind, and their emotions. They exercise, eat well, and get enough rest because they understand that peak performance requires a strong foundation. They also protect their mental space. They avoid negativity, limit distractions, and create an environment that fuels their ambition. Another key factor in building an unstoppable system is accountability. Winners don't try to do everything alone. They surround themselves with people who push them to be better. They seek mentors, coaches, and a strong support system that challenges them to raise their standards. They know that being around the right people can accelerate their growth. They also hold themselves accountable by tracking their progress. They measure their results, reflect on what's working, and adjust their approach when necessary. Resilience is another defining characteristic of those who achieve extraordinary success. They don't let temporary setbacks derail them. They have the mindset that no matter what happens, they will find a way. They don't get stuck in self-pity or frustration. They adapt and keep moving forward. They see obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger. They develop mental toughness by repeatedly pushing through difficulties instead of avoiding them. Every winner also understands the power of gratitude. They don't just focus on what they need to achieve, they take time to appreciate how far they've come. They know that gratitude fuels a positive mindset, and a positive mindset fuels success. They don't wait until they reach the finish line to feel fulfilled. They find joy in the process. They celebrate small wins, acknowledge their progress, and use that energy to keep pushing forward. Ultimately, success isn't about luck or talent, it's about setting up a system that guarantees progress. It's about committing to the right habits, taking consistent action, and refusing to settle for anything less than your best. Winners don't rely on motivation. They create routines that ensure they keep moving forward no matter what, because when success becomes a habit, winning becomes inevitable. The true key to lasting success is the ability to adapt, grow, and push beyond limits. Winners don't achieve their goals and then stop. They don't settle, they don't get comfortable, and they certainly don't let success make them complacent. They understand that life is about constant progress, continuous evolution, and never-ending expansion. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start falling behind. If you want to win in life, you must train your mind to embrace challenges, seek out discomfort, and push yourself to new levels, no matter how much you've already achieved. The greatest achievers in the world all share one thing in common. They are never satisfied with staying the same. They always ask themselves, what's next? They don't see success as a final destination, but as a stepping stone to something greater. They know that no matter how much they've accomplished, there's always another level. Whether in business, sports, personal development, or relationships, the mindset of constant improvement is what separates the good from the great. The reason why so many people plateau is because they stop striving. They achieve one goal and then lose momentum. Winners avoid this trap by staying hungry and constantly setting new, higher standards for themselves. One of the most powerful ways to maintain momentum is by surrounding yourself with people who challenge you. The environment you place yourself in will either push you forward or pull you back. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you want to grow, you must be around those who are ahead of you, people who force you to think bigger, act bolder, and push harder. Winners actively seek out mentors, coaches, and networks of high achievers because they understand that success leaves clues. They learn from those who have already done what they aspire to do, and they model their habits, mindset, and strategies. The best performers in the world also understand the power of setting impossible goals. They don't play it safe. They don't set goals that are easy to reach. They aim so high that it forces them to grow, to stretch, and to evolve. When you set goals that are beyond your current capabilities, you activate a new level of resourcefulness within yourself. You start thinking differently, acting differently, and developing new skills. You become a person who is capable of achieving far more than you ever imagined. The process of chasing big goals transforms you into someone greater, someone stronger, someone who refuses to accept mediocrity. But setting big goals is not enough. You must also take massive commitment action. Winners don't just dream about success, they execute. They don't wait for the perfect time to start because they know the perfect time doesn't exist. They act before they feel ready. They take risks. They make bold moves. They know that action creates momentum and momentum creates results. Most people spend too much time overthinking, doubting, and hesitating, and as a result, they never make progress. Winners move forward even when they're uncertain. They trust that they will figure things out along the way. One of the biggest factors that separates those who win from those who don't is resilience. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you put in, you will face setbacks. You will fail. You will hit roadblocks. But winners don't let failure define them. They use it as fuel. They see every setback as a setup for a comeback. They take every challenge as an opportunity to learn, grow, and come back stronger. The ability to bounce back quickly is what allows them to keep moving forward while others give up. They don't get stuck in frustration or disappointment. They refocus, re-strategize, and keep taking action. Winners also develop unshakable self-belief. They don't allow doubt to control them. They don't wait for external validation. They build their confidence through experience, through action, through proving to themselves that they can handle anything. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It comes from repeatedly showing up, pushing past fear, and doing the things that make you uncomfortable. The more you challenge yourself, the more confident you become. And the more confident you are, the more unstoppable you become. But the most important element of long-term success is purpose. Winners don't just chase money, status, or fame. They chase impact. They know that true fulfillment comes from serving something bigger than themselves. They have a mission, a reason why they do what they do. That purpose gives them energy, drive, and an unstoppable mindset. When your purpose is strong enough, you will find a way to push through any challenge. You will keep going even when it's hard. You will refuse to quit because you know that what you're working toward matters. The path to success is not easy. It requires commitment, discipline, and relentless action. But those who are willing to embrace the process, to push beyond their limits, and to constantly seek growth will achieve results beyond their wildest dreams. Because in the end, success is not about what you get, it's about who you become in the process.